Welcome to the Tell You Later show, conveniently located at the intersection of historical and hysterical.
Sincere thanks to all those who support us on Patreon. See the full list at the end of the show. And there's always room for more.
We haven't got a title song for this show, so we're singing this thing instead.
Okay.
It's really just a substitute. Nonetheless, the melody may stay in your head.
Oh, I hope so.
'Cause it's a tune.
It's a tune.
You'll love to croon.
You'll love to croon.
But there's one thing you should know. We have to confess we do not possess a title song for this show.
Ain't it peculiar?
Believe it or not, we haven't got a title song for this show.
Oops.
Hi, it's me, Barbie, and you're with my BFF, Katie. I hope you're having fun. You guys are so cool. Bye-bye.
Welcome back to the Tell You Later show. Thank you to our patrons who support us on patreon.com and support us through purchasing our merch at merchulator.com. I'm Katie Leigh. This is part 2 of my chat with Diane Ingolia. And she was sharing with us last time about how she's helped build the Whit's End at the Visitor Center at Focus on the Family. And I asked you, what was the most challenging thing you ever had to build there? And she is hospitality czar. She creates all these things, and people kind of always want to do what you ask because they know you have great ideas. Aww. Right? And they want it, and you've impressed the health inspectors, you've impressed the Disney people.
Woohoo!
What was the most challenging thing?
I think there were 2. One of them in the Discovery Emporium is the train. There's a train that runs around the top of the ceiling. And Roger's original idea, which I thought was great, was to make it a plexi.
Roger being her husband, Roger,
lovely.
Who her assistant, supportive slave, handyman, who's
cheap labor.
Cheap labor, very cheap labor. He wanted to make that platform that the train ran on plexi, which would have been awesome because then you could have seen it from the underneath.
The track.
The track. And then he also wanted it to be more like a figure 8, so it went across. But it just didn't turn out that way. It's still cool because it runs around the perimeter. So that was a challenge of how to get that, how to keep the train up there without falling off the tracks and can keep it running consistently. So that was a tricky one. I think another one was we have a Narnia room. And
yes, I went into it.
Yes,
the wardrobe and everything.
And because Focus has done all 7 books of the Chronicles of Narnia on radio theater, so we wanted a Narnia room. But you have to have a wardrobe. And we went hunting, antique hunting. It took us a couple years because a lot of the old wardrobes have mirrors in the front. And we've got children. And with children there, you can't have a mirror. So it had to be a safe wardrobe, but it still had to
also be really big right?
Everything about it had to have the double doors. So we were in this antique store in downtown Colorado Springs, walking through. They had all these different things, and we were up on a 2nd floor, and you kind of back up. Oh my, that's it. And so the people love Focus. Their child had just had a birthday party at Focus on the Family.
Oh, by the way, everybody, you did create a birthday room there. And in case you guys don't know this, anybody can reserve the room to have a birthday party there. You can even bring in your own food. You're not required to buy food at Whit's End, right?
That's
we can
correct.
have up to 15 kids.
That's right. Yep.
How long do they get the room for?
An hour and a half. And they get the scavenger hunts, the puppets, the costumes, the kids' radio, the 3-story slide. It's a built-in party.
So the room is just so you can have the cake, maybe open present, a private room, but then they can run around the whole place. Because it doesn't cost to go to the visitor center anyway.
Right.
I didn't even say that. It's just open to the public.
And that's the part that moms really like, or it's free. What do you mean free? Because what's free? And it's like, no, it's free. Free, you mean you're going to charge me once I get there? No, it's free. Yeah, so, yeah. But the Narnia room.
Okay.
So we did find the wardrobe, but the thing is about a wardrobe, it's not made for 500,000 people to walk through. So when we bought that antique, and the people actually gave us a super
I imagine it must have been really expensive.
No, they gave us a great discount because they loved their grandchild who just had a birthday party there, and they're like, this is so great. So it was almost like a donation, but it wasn't. But it kind of wasn't. So we bring this wardrobe back. So now Roger has this awesome task of cutting an antique wardrobe. You only get one chance to cut an antique wardrobe.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
Just the wood.
Now, and you guys, how did you even move it? Is there like a big room where you can't bring furniture because you're downstairs, right?
Right. Yeah, no, you can come in for the back doors.
Okay.
Yeah. But he had to take out the back of it so that you could walk through. So he had to cut that out. He had to cut out the shelves that were there. But I wanted hydraulics on the doors. I wanted the doors to close every single time so that it was a new adventure. Because if you just had it open, it would just be open. It
wouldn't be a surprise.
Right. It's not. You want it to be a surprise. So he had to mimic the shape of the door and make it thick, but still look like it was the antique original. So that meant.
So those aren't the doors that came
with? The outside is, but that it's doubled. So he.
Wow. And and Roger, who is in the room but doesn't want to show his face right now, so I'm just gonna. Did you figure that out all by yourself?
Yes, 110-year-old wardrobe, and we're gonna chop it up. But
wow.
It all worked, and the kids have had a blast with it.
Right, because you have to take the floor out of it so that you can walk through it.
Wow.
And then we wanted a fur coat in there, but again, how do you get them to close so that...
It's actually in 3 sections.
3 sections.
You can come back on camera if you want to explain this.
Well, we're going to bring Roger in by himself.
Okay, good. Take that, Roger.
All right, okay,
So then that was challenging.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, you only get one chance. And then when you get we had to build a false wall because that was a giant conference room. So we just divided it up with another wall and then put the wardrobe in between. So it's a fake wall against the wardrobe.
Right, okay.
So that you could have a separate section.
The turkey says you'll gobble up this book real fast. KatieLeigh.com.
But
pictures in that room, I noticed.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Not in the Narnia room, but on the other side.
Yeah.
But we also wonder when you finally get
pre-Narnia room.
The Foley. It's Harlequin Theater.
Oh.
That's why those little lights are around the outside.
Oh, okay.
But when you could look back at the wardrobe, it looked too plain. So I found a ceramic head of a lion that was about this big. And I said, honey, can you make it look like it's carved wood? So he made the shape that the back of the wardrobe is. Did you glue that sucker on there? Then he took wood putty and feathered it out, but he made it look like it was carved out of the wood and then put it up above. So the back, which is really a wall, looks like Aslan.
Wow.
I know. So I actually found 2 of them. So one's on the outside.
This is an amazing outlet for your creativity.
I think Roger's glad because I have ideas for my house.
For your house, as long as you're busy over there.
Yeah. I want a dumb waiter in my house, and he said he's the dumb waiter in my house. But I want a real one. Yeah.
That's amazing. So I also wanted you to share, because people come from all over the world to visit.
Yes.
And that's under your and other duties as assigned, right?
Other duties as
assigned. Tell us about some of those exceptional people that you've met.
Yeah.
People that, you wouldn't think that you've actually entertained and become friends with, or tell us about some of those things. That's what I want to know about.
Yeah, I think some of our really fun guests have been from China, they've been from Indonesia.
Who came from China?
We actually had a delegation that came, and they loved Focus on the Family. And what was really cool...
A delegation of who?
Chinese nationals. There are people who want...
People?
Yeah.
Like, just a group of friends?
Well, if you have to remember, we have an international department, and so we make liaison, we make contacts. And so I got to have lunch with them, and they speak English really well, because English is like the second language. We know one language, English. Unless you're lucky enough to know Espanol and, I know nothing. So I was sitting next to this Chinese national, and I said, I am terrible with chopsticks. Do you think you could teach me? And he goes, no. And I went, you won't teach me how to use chopsticks? He goes, oh no, you YouTube it. And I went, okay. I was so disappointed. I thought I was going to get a personal lesson on chopsticks. No, I did not.
Well.
But I've met the King of Uganda.
The King of Uganda? So you were...
Odyssey fan.
Tell us about that.
Well, this was an interesting trip. I get this call and they say, Diane, the King of Uganda is coming. And I went, what?
I didn't even know Uganda had a king. I thought they had a
It's
president.
probably more of a...
Figurehead?
Figurehead, yeah. And so I'm like, okay, what? And they said, don't turn your back on the king. And they hung up. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with the...
Like that day he was coming?
He was coming. Like, go to the Welcome Center, he's coming.
Oh, wow. So they just told you right at the last minute?
Yes.
Okay.
So now I run across the parking lot, and I'm standing in the Welcome Center. We have the foyer, and so I'm standing inside. And I'm waiting, and it's like, okay, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Do you curtsy? Do you bow? Do you... I don't know. Hey.
Spin around?
Yeah, hey.
Nobody
hey.
can't turn your back?
Yeah, I know, but you can't turn your back. So this huge limo pulls up, and I thought, oh, that's surely going to be the king. And all these people start getting out, and I'm like, I don't know, the king, is this the king? No, not the king, nope. So they line up, they make a line. So I'm at the end of the line, and I'm like... And I'm thinking, somebody's punking me. This is a joke. So now I'm waiting, and another limo pulls up. And then all these other people get out, and these ladies get out, and these two really tall guys get out. And I'm like, okay, that has to be the bodyguard. So surely the king's in there somewhere. Remember, don't turn your back on the king. So these young ladies come in, but they're backing up to me, leaning over, doing this as they're walking backwards.
Wow.
And then they split up, and they join this gauntlet line. And there's the king. He's 9 years old. He's wearing a blue suit and a hat from the Air Force Academy, and he had a little video game in his... And I'm like, oh my goodness. And off to the side, I hear this woman's voice go, Oyo. And it was the queen. The queen is nothing. It's the mother. She's the mother. She's nothing. The king is everything. He's actually in the Guinness World Book of Records for being the youngest reigning king at the age of 3. His father died at 3.
What, was that his name, Oyo?
Oyo. Right. And so she just says, Oyo, and he looks up, and now I'm looking at him, and I still don't know what I'm supposed to do. And I just stand. And so he comes forward, and I'm still doing, hey, dude. And he puts his hand out.
Keep that in
I don't know what to do. Is that, how many disrespect I'm going to have an international incident with one wrong bow. Yeah. So he puts his hand out, and he goes, how do you do? And I can do how do you do. So I'm like, how do you do, King Oyo? And this hand comes in front of my face, and I look over, and this man goes, talk to me. How do you do? And he goes, how do you do, King Oyo? Would you like to ride our slide? Would you like to ride our slide? And he goes, ride the slide. And I said, okay, we're going to go that way. Don't turn your back on the king. Wow. So we head towards the slide, and there's a glass hallway. So he takes off running, I take off running. The entourage takes off running. So now we're running up the steps.
Are there other kids in the visitor center at this time?
I knew of nothing else. All I knew was King Oyo's running, and all these other people are running, and the bodyguards are running, and one's running up the stairs, and one's running down the stairs. So I'm following him. So I'm running up, and he's running up. We get to the top. You know, you have to put on the bag.
Right.
Well, no, he's the king. He can do whatever he wants. So he gets on the slide, sits down, and he is on his way down, and the queen is right behind me, and she's like, no, and she was going to dive into the slide to grab this kid. So I'm like, no, he's fine. I'm old. I go down all the time. He's fine. Well, that first dip, doesn't it take you by surprise? He screams, but it's not like I'm being killed, but like I'm having fun, scream. But it didn't sound like that. So he's going down.
And he didn't have a sack over his feet. He didn't have the elbow covers on.
Yes,
what was he wearing?
He had a suit.
Oh, a suit.
Yeah.
Right.
So
and a hat.
So he's on the way down. Usually you wait for them to get to the bottom. I'm not waiting. So I get in the slide, and I'm right behind him. So he's going, he's screaming the whole way down, and I'm right behind him.
But you can't, but you didn't turn your back on him because his back was turned on you. So
Right, I'm behind him.
Okay.
So then he pops out. I pop out, and he goes, again. So now he takes off running. I take off running behind him. So as we're going up, they're coming down. It was like a Laurel and Hardy skit. And she's going, oh, yo! And we went up that and down 10 times.
Oh, my goodness.
What's the fangirl up to this week? To find out, stay tuned till after the credits.
So we get to the bottom of the slide, and I said, oh,
But you weren't wearing a bag or elbow covers either.
I had no tie. I had a skirt on.
I mean, my shirt came up when I went down today.
Yes, but I'm a professional.
You are. You're a professional slider.
Yes, I am.
Yes, apparently. Okay.
So then we get out of the slide, and I'm looking around. Where's that guy? He's not here. And I'm like, would you like to do kids radio? And he goes, kids radio. And I said, okay, we're gonna go.
So he listened to Odyssey in Uganda. So wow, were they Christians?
At the time, yeah, I don't know if they still are. I don't know if the guy, he's grown up, but yeah.
Wow, so he did listen to Adventures in Odyssey.
And he knew
kids radio. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's like, okay, we're going to go that way. So it's like, don't turn your back. So now I'm walking side by side, and
And was the interpreter guy?
Oh no, he spoke English.
But was he still with you?
He came up behind me, and I hear this voice, and he goes, do you know why we don't want Oyo to ride the slide? And I'm like, no, sir, I don't. And he goes, because Oyo's body parts are like no other body parts.
Okay.
I had no.
But he'd already done it 10 times before you heard this.
So now.
So before you make any more suggestions,
Yes.
you better run it through.
Yeah. Okay. Well, no, it got worse. So now we get into kids radio, and I wanted him to be one of the speaking parts because I wanted to capture his voice. But he's 9. He wanted to do the sound effects. He wanted to do the Foley.
He wants to bang on.
Of course he did. So I had.
So let's explain what kids radio is.
Yes, please.
There's a room at Whit's End.
Yes.
Kids Radio is based on Kids Radio on our radio program Adventures in Odyssey at Whit's End. There's a Kids Radio like a broadcast. Anyway, so in this section of the visitor center, Kids Radio, people can make an appointment to go in. There's an engineer. Mm-hmm. There are scripts. Mm-hmm. And there's recorded dialogue. I know I'm on one of the shows.
Mr. Happy.
I don't know if I'm on 2 or 1, maybe 1. And then there's a couple parts for kids who can come in and read those parts with the already recorded episode. It's an episode maybe 5 minutes?
No, it's about 10 minutes.
10 minutes?
15.
So when it's like they're actually recording an episode, and when they're finished reading, somebody does Foley, somebody reads a couple parts, you can get 2 people in there, and the other tracks are already recorded, and when the kids are done, I'm looking at the microphone, and I realize I should be looking at the camera here. Okay, somebody help me. Well, usually the camera's right in front of me, and now it's at a different angle, and I don't know what I'm supposed to be looking at. All right, so this is how it goes. You so they after they've recorded it, everybody gets a CD is
Or
actually
an
printed
MP3.
or oh really or an MP3 to take home, and it's like they're in their own recording of an Adventures in Odyssey episode. So King, by the way, when I was there yesterday, I don't know if you heard this. Because not everybody who comes to the visitor center listens to Adventures in Odyssey. Maybe they just come because they hear it's a fun place to visit.
Or they were invited to a birthday party.
Whatever. So I was kind of bopping around there. And for some people, I'm a huge celebrity. And for other people, and anyway, so there was somebody in there recording a kids' radio episode. And I kind of knocked on. I said, "Can I play Connie?" And the lady goes, "Oh, you have to sign up upstairs before you can come in." I'm like, "Oh, okay, I'll go do that." So she had no idea who I was, but that's okay, because for those of you who don't know, I play a character named Connie Kendall on Adventures in Odyssey. Anyway, so there, he wanted to go do kids radio and do the Foley, which is the sound effects for the episode.
Right. So you have to practice the round of Foley so that when the episode's being recorded, you already know what you're doing. So now, the first thing I say is, "Okay, King Oyo, you need to open that door." And he goes, "Open the door?"
Oh, he's probably never opened a door in his life.
So I said, "Put your hand on the doorknob and you're going to turn it, and then you're going to open the door." Now there's a glass window behind us. So Oyo is standing here, and I'm behind him, so my back's still not turned to the king, and they're watching me, and I'm not going to turn around because I'm making the king do stuff like open a door. So then it's like, "Now I want you to open that drawer." And he goes, "Open the drawer?" And I say, "Well, you put your hand in the handle and you pull it open, and then you're going to close it." And he's, "Oh." So I said, "Now to pick up that pencil," and I said, "I want you to put it in the pencil sharpener." And he goes, "Pencil sharpener?" And I said, "That right there, you're just going to shove that, just shove it in there. Shove that sucker in there, and it'll sharpen your pencil." So he, okay, now you're going to do horse sounds. So you're going to pick up those coconuts, and you're going to go, "Kalang, kalang, kalang."
Did he speak English
Oh,
pretty
beautifully.
well? Oh, so
beautifully.
He knew, he was just repeating.
He was just repeating, yeah, what I said. Now the last sound effects, I thought, oh no. I said, "All right, I want you to pick up that broom." And he goes, "Broom?" And I said, "It's right here." So he picks it up like this. So clearly he had never watched or used a broom. So I took his hand and I put it like this. "Now I just want you to take it and go sweep, sweep." And I'm not going to turn around because they're all, the bodyguards, like I know, like 10 feet, and two of them, and they're looking through that window, and I thought, no, sweep, sweep. So then we run through the whole episode.
He wanted to do it.
And he did great, and I just wish we could have captured him. So I thought
Yeah,
he needs to go to the
video.
real Foley studio. So like Rob Jorgensen was working over there, so I call Rob and I go, "Rob, I'm bringing over the king of Uganda." And he goes, "What?" And I said, "Don't turn your back on the king." And
I'm going to hand you over to Rob.
I know. So we went across the parking lot, and by this time they knew he was fine. The ambassador didn't come because he figured I don't really care how you guard your castle with tigers or lions and bears. So we crossed the parking lot, and so all Rob knows, King of Uganda, don't turn your back. So the door swings open, and he's actually had his back to the door because he was working on some sound. So the door, and he spins around, and then he sees this 9-year-old kid. So it takes him by surprise too. So I'm right behind Oyo, and he's looking at me like, "What is happening?" Well, he was working on a battle scene. I don't know if you noticed there was a suit of armor.
Yeah, we saw it today.
And there was also a sword that was leaning up in its sheath against the door. There's all that other stuff in there, and King Oyo saw one thing.
The sword.
And so he is 9, so he crosses in front of Rob, and of course Rob is turning as he's turning to make sure he doesn't turn his back. He runs over, he grabs that sword, he pulls it out of the sheath, and he goes, "Ha!" And he puts the blade. So he knew how to handle a sword. So Rob's hands go up. He looks at me like, "Do something." I look at the bodyguard, and he's leaning up against the wall. He doesn't care.
Was it a real sword? Because what I saw today was not. It was something they had put together. It was actually a thing to hold roast beef.
No.
Is what they were using for sound effects.
No.
Now, this was a real sword?
Yes, it was somebody's real sword
scary.
that they had brought in.
Wow.
So the bodyguard's just leaning up against the wall because the king's not being threatened, so he didn't care. What he hurt, it didn't matter because he's the king. So now Rob's looking at me like, so help me, I'm gonna kill you. So I'm like, your highness, kingship, your worship, masterful King Oyo. I don't know what to call. I'm like stuttering. So I'm like, I am just gonna go ahead and take that sword. I've made the king open a door, open a drawer, sweep, and now I'm telling him no.
Put down the sword.
I know, and so I'm like very gingerly taking. So I'm just going to we're just going to put that back, that sharp item. So I very carefully take it from him and I put it back in the sheath. And you know when you're a little panicky, I wasn't thinking clearly, and I know this is the wrong continent, but as I was turning to put it in, I thought I was going to hear.
Oh, you've got your new Tell You Later tote bag.
Cute? I love it.
Did you get that at Merchulator?
I sure did.
Merchulator.com.
It's so cute. Look,
super
Tell
cute.
Ya Later bag, and it's got
awesome.
everything in it.
Do they have hats?
And a poison dart from the bodyguard. And I was like, you just think weird things. So, wrong continent, I know. So, just put the thing on. So, now, Rob, have you ever played that game, 3 Truths and a Lie, or 3 Lies and a Truth? So, his truth is always, I was almost beheaded by the king of Uganda.
Oh, that's what Rob says.
And nobody ever gets it. Rob wins every time.
Wow, that was so scary.
It was exciting. What are you talking about?
Yeah, wow. So
Yeah, it was great.
So then did he proceed to show him the Foley room?
Yeah, and then he showed him all the stuff that was in there, and he let him play and bang and walk and slomp and...
Wow.
Yeah, it was a fun experience.
Oyo sounds very fast. King Oyo. He can move quickly.
Yeah,
wow.
I know.
So how did it end? Did he get ice cream?
Oh yeah,
What
took him
happened?
back over to the welcome center. He had a good time, and we fed all the entourage that had come in, and so
Wow.
yeah, they had a good time. We had a good time had by all.
So now you have friends in Uganda.
I know.
Has there ever been any other royalty showing up?
There's actually another province, and there was a queen of Uganda, and I don't know if it's broken into different sections, but she came as well, and the drum and shield that's in Mr. Whitaker's office, she gave us a gift.
Oh, really?
To
That's
Dr.
nice.
Dobson, and so I'm like, hey, what are you going to do with that drum and shield there, Doc? And he's like, I don't know, and I said, well, I do. So it's hanging in Whit's office now.
Very, very cool.
Very
so
fun.
those are the royalty. Any other like celebrities come through?
All the time, and I think that's what makes it so fun. A lot of my favorite celebrities. Coach Dungy is amazing. He was the football coach. And
Of what?
oh, help me,
Coach
gentlemen.
Dungy?
Dun.
That's a celebrity.
Yeah, they won the Super Bowl one year. You can tell I'm a great fan.
What team? We don't know what team.
Was it the
Coach?
the Colts, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a coach came through.
Yes, and he's a Christian man, and just amazing. Love him. And Franklin Graham is probably one of my favorites.
Any like music celebrities or actors?
All kinds. Kirk Cameron's, he's come through a few times, and Chuck Swindoll, of course, and we just had Phil Wickham play for us for our Sea Life event that we just had.
Anybody you didn't expect would come in that surprised you?
I usually get a heads up, so except for the King of Uganda.
Well, I mean, even though they get a heads up, like, wow, I didn't think they would be wanting to come here.
I don't think I'm usually surprised, unless it was the King of Uganda. No, I think it's because of who we are and because of how far-reaching we are. A lot of folks want to come and visit us. We've had over 500,000 visitors, and
So what other, is there any, what else is the duties as assigned? What other thing have you done that hasn't had, like, wasn't part of what you thought was your job description?
Well, if you call after hours, thank you for calling Focus on the Family.
Oh, you're on their
Yes, and the
answering?
answering machine. So there's about 10 different departments that I have to do, like Resilient Kids. Thank you for calling Resilient Kids. And then our Hope Restored line. Thank you for calling.
Now, how did they know to ask you to do that? Like, of all the people.
Let's get someone to do this. I know.
Job duties. But you, now, were you ever, have you ever done any acting? Because you keep showing up in videos.
I do. They keep, in through high school and college, I did some acting and.
Because you seem to really shine.
Oh, that's
and
nice.
and you participate. Well, you've been like an MC. You've been on stage.
That's true.
I mean, for a guest relations person, that doesn't seem like duties as assigned.
It's all kinds of duties that get assigned, which to me is really fun. And I think they know that if they want someone to get it done, I'll get it done for them.
What's the most rewarding thing that you've done that really stands out? Like, I'm so, it means so much to me that I got to do this thing.
The Make-A-Wish kids, I think, is what's amazing. And really every day, someone comes through the Welcome Center, because during the summer we average about 1,000 visitors a day, and every day someone has a story. Everyone has a story, and I am curious, and I love to hear someone's story. And so you just want to talk. I just want to talk. I want to learn. I want to hear where you come from and why you make the decisions that you make, and why Focus, and why your family. And
well, you make everybody feel special.
Oh, thank you.
And you make everybody feel welcome.
Oh.
And I know you've got 5 grandkids.
I do.
And you adore them.
I do.
And you spend time with them. Yeah. And is there anything left, what's like, if somebody said, Diane, you get to make a wish, where would you like to go? What would you like to do? What would it be?
I'd take my grandkids and my kids to Italy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because you're Italian.
Because we're Italian. I'd love to see my grandparents' home and where they grew up. We've been ourselves, but we went to the major cities for our 25th anniversary. We took our kids, and it was our actually 25th anniversary, and so we're in Rome, the most romantic city in the world, and Roger shared
romantic.
Yes, thank you. And Roger shared a room with Toby because the two of them snored, and Serafina,
that's your son.
That's my son, and then Serafina and I shared the other room because they had adjoining room because we couldn't handle the snoring anymore. And Roger goes, "This is my 25th anniversary." Oh. And I go, "I don't want to hear your snoring." So, shut that room door in between. Oh. Yeah, but we'd love to take all of the kids and
your grandkids.
And the grandkids. That would be amazing.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Yes. Let's see. Is there anything else you would like the Tell You Later audience to know?
I love this woman, and we met a long time ago, and it was love at first sight.
Yeah, I really want to be. Her and her husband do ministry. They mentor people. They have good advice. They're funny. Yeah, and just, you are one of my favorite people. Aww. And that's why I'm glad you could be on this show. And thank you for coming. And let's see. I think there was something else. I can't remember. I'll have to tell you later.
Oh, good idea.
Diane, come here. You know what? Last night, I knew there was something I forgot. I forgot to thank you for being on the show, and for being on the show, I want to give you a scrubulator.
What?
An official scrubulator. So, I don't know what color you want.
Can I have
this? They're different. They're all different.
I want this one.
You want that one?
I want this one. This is for my face, right?
It can be for your face or your dishes.
Just scrub it off.
Your body, your dishes, whatever you want.
Oh, look. Scrubulator. It says, Tell You Later Show, official Scrub You Later. Get it? Scrub You Later. I get jokes. handmade by Katie Leigh.
Yes, thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. Yay, Scripulator. I always wanted one of these. Finally, I had to do something to get it.
Thanks for watching. Tell You Later is a Patreon-driven entertainment show. So what are you waiting for? Come on over, join us for so much more at patreon.com/Tell You Later.
I didn't wink or nod or nudge too slightly. But still somehow you up and guessed my inclination, 'cause I never said yes, I never said no, I never said stop, never.
My ode to macaroni with some ham and cheese for carb. You are a protein and a carb, the bright yellow spot in my pantry. My macaroni and dink my keys. My ode to macaroni now is done.